Chris Paul made a statement recently where he said that his teammate.
Oh, I thought he said that Mars was flat. I'm sorry. Okay, that's something.
Well, I was going to say he didn't go as far as to say we didn't reach the moon and you know how Steph walked that back, right?
Oh, he walked it back big time.
Do you believe I love Steph, but do you believe that he really was joking?
No.
I don't think he was joking.
He wasn't joking at all, and he got so much pushback.
Right.
And the other thing that people probably said to him was, Steph, if you ever want to say something serious, people will not take you seriously when you throw stuff out there. And other thing is,
absolutely,
you have a responsibility. Kids look up to you. And when you start playing and throwing out stuff, then they're going to go to school and go, the earth is
it's flat. Like and Kyrie Irving said.
And that we never landed on the moon and all this kind of stuff. So you got to be real careful with just throwing stuff out and then trying to walk it back and say it was a joke. I don't think he said it as a joke.
I don't think it was a joke because if you read his entire statement about that, he actually said, like, but what I'm saying is people shouldn't just believe something because they've been told it, and he's going to go to NASA. NASA invited him to see. I'm going to go check everything. Like, it just seemed like he was like, I'm going to see the evidence, and then I'll believe it. That's what I read into it. And Kyrie, just like you said, he realized, because he said he had teachers telling him and saying, hey, all my kids now think the earth is flat.
Don't do that, right?
It's not cool. And the most important, or one of the other important points you made is when you want to be taken seriously. Steph does make comments on
yes, he does.
Trump and
social issues.
Yeah.
So if you're like a goofball, people will be like, oh, that's Steph Curry. He thinks that we never landed on the moon. You can't take that guy seriously.
Absolutely. You lose credibility.
You lose all your credibility.
Yep. All right. Well, Chris Paul didn't go that far.
Speaking of losing credibility.
But what he said is this about James Harden. I say it all the time. He's the best offensive player I've ever seen.
Just threw up in my mouth.
Like, seriously. This is a quote. I'm continuing the quote. Like, seriously. He can drive. He can shoot. He's got ball handling. It's going to be a tough night for you, whoever it is. I don't care what you're doing. All right. James Harden, best offensive player Chris Paul's ever seen. Chris Paul's old enough to have seen Michael Jordan.
Thank you. Just stop the conversation right there. This is, Chris, what do we talk about all the time? Prisoner of the moment. I get it. It's your teammate. He's one of a few guys who had 50 points.
He is a great player.
He's a great player. And so what if he takes 4 steps to get a basket? I get all that. But to act like you've never seen anybody who was a great offensive player and act like Michael Jordan didn't play, please stop it.
No,
what's up with these millennials and everything is like...
Is he a millennial?
Well, he's too old.
What
now,
is he,
right?
33-ish?
That's too old, right?
33, 34.
Is that a millennial or not? You guys know.
I think so. Let me check.
Yeah, see, exactly. But you know what I'm saying.
But he's close enough, even if he isn't one.
Everything that happened yesterday is better than anything that ever happened. We can't live in that kind of world. Stop doing that.
You're right. And there's a few things Chris Paul
he is a millennial, yeah.
Did not take into consideration. I'm going to list them too. Number 1, James Harden turns the ball over. I mean, he treats the ball like a hot potato in terms of turning it over. And he should have 2 MVP awards. So I'm not saying this because I don't think he is a great player. I voted for him MVP in 2015 when Steph Curry first won his first MVP. Yeah.
So
and
you
then obviously last year. No, I mean I thought he should have won it because Dwight Howard was out half the year.
Right.
They had a great year and he was tremendous. But my point is he holds the NBA record for most turnovers in a season by a mile. He's got 2 of the 4 highest turnover seasons in NBA history.
Because he's sloppy.
Year, he's challenging it. 5.5 turnovers a game.
That's many.
That's one thing.
We get it that most of the time, if you're a point guard or handle the ball, you're going to have the most turnovers because you got to rock the most.
But 6 a game?
But 6 a game is outrageous. It's outrageous.
That's too much. Secondly, the thing Chris Paul overlooked, he's not that efficient of a scorer. Now, I know his true shooting percentage is pretty good because he shoots a ton of threes. And that, 3 is more than 2, so that really weighs in your true shooting percentage. But overall, he's a 44% shooter. Michael Jordan, you can't compare a true shooting percentage of James Harden to Michael Jordan because Jordan in his day, they didn't shoot threes.
Nope.
They weren't getting that extra point on certain possessions, half of their buckets and things like that. So he's not that efficient of a scorer. Again, 44%. The third thing, Rob, that Chris Paul failed to take into account is the Mike D'Antoni factor. Mike D'Antoni's offense is PEDs for certain types of players.
We already saw that with Nash.
Steve Nash,
He won back-to-back MVPs running that system.
Never would have been an MVP, never would have been in the MVP conversation, and wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame conversation, as far as I'm concerned, if he had not linked up with Mike D'Antoni. And more power to him. I voted for him to be MVP those 2 years. He was tremendous. But
I didn't think the second one he should have won. The first one I had no issue with. I think it was the second one I did.
Yeah, who'd he win it over that second year? Who was close? Shaq was close the first year, I believe. But whatever the case, Chris Duhon, Ray Felton, Jeremy Lin, when they had by far their best seasons, great seasons,
all
in
under
Mike D'Antoni's offense. His assists went from 7 assists a game Harden to 11 a game when D'Antoni showed up in Houston. And they'd still be that high if Chris Paul hadn't come over and taken some of the assists away. So I'm not saying Harden's not great, and I'm not saying he's a product of D'Antoni's system. But I'm saying when you start saying he's a better offensive player than anybody to play the game, or at least anybody in the last 30 years, then you've gone too far.
And the other thing, too, is I always think the real story is if Chris Paul would have said that somebody else was not a teammate. When you're playing with somebody and you give them a compliment like that, there's no credence to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? What are you supposed to say? Okay, he just scored 50 points and had a triple-double or whatever it was, and people are looking for quotes about how great he is, and then you go off the handle. So I just think that whenever you hear that, you just go, you take it with a grain of salt.
But he didn't have to go that far.
No, I think he went crazy.
You could just say, hey, this guy's a tremendous player, one of the greats as far
just
as
say one of, and you're good to go. One of. One of.
Hey, look, and Harden is tremendous, and he has mastered. He does some type of offensive flop.
Right.
They've outlawed flopping, but he's so crafty that he's able to get to the line and draw these fouls.
And he gets the call all the time. Yeah. I get it.
It's incredible what he's done. He is a tremendous player. I think, Rob, when I look at the all-time great shooting guard, and I'm going to call him a shooting guard. I know he's playing point in Houston, but I'm going to call him a shooting guard. I think the top 4 shooting guards of all time are Michael Jordan in this order: Kobe Bryant, Jerry West, Dwayne Wade.
You got Jerry West.
Jerry West was fun. You look at his numbers. Yeah, he got to finals. He only won one, but he would get there just about every year.
He was the for before LeBron.
Yeah, he's 1 for 9 in the finals.
Yeah,
but I think James Harden is on pace to challenge Dwayne Wade for that 4th spot. And maybe, heck, if he can lead Houston to a championship at some point,
good luck.
Then he could even challenge Jerry West. Some people might have Wade even listed above Jerry West.
And people need the logo thing. I think if I read the story right, it was just because
it was just almost happenstance.
It was just because he was left-handed, and the guy who was looking for a silhouette, you know what I mean, to make the logo, they picked Jerry West. It wasn't based off of
like he was the best player in the league.
Yes.
But he's one of those special players.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that really wasn't how it was.
No, you're right. It's not like
the Major League Baseball one, the guy is Harmon Killebrew because he's a right-handed hitter and the way they made. So you see what I'm saying? Like, they took his likeness, and because of the way he held the bat, it worked inside of a logo kind of thing. Like other guys maybe had their bat up too high, so it didn't work.
Should they change the NBA logo?
Absolutely.
You think so?
To Michael Jordan. The
only problem with that is that it's the jump.
So
man.
what?
Like it's Nike.
I don't care.
You'd probably have to pay Nike.
I don't care. I would do it. I think the league was taken to another level, and that would be the ultimate pain, the ultimate homage, to
to Jordan.
To Jordan.
The GOAT. He's the best ever. You could do
That would be
Shaq.
a great.
You could do Shaq dunking, hanging on the rim.
No, I don't want. I want Jordan.
I agree. Jordan would be better.
Jordan would be great.
I don't think they can. And you could do another one of Jordan. I mean, he did. It wouldn't have to be the jump man. I just think that's too associated with Nike.
I don't care. I'm just saying. I know what you're saying, but that's the logo that people think of Michael Jordan. And above all that, it's nice it's on a sneaker. But to give him that, if I was David Stern, that would have been one of. Before David Stern retired, I always thought there was two things that Stern should have done, and that was one, make that logo Jordan. And number two, I would have had, like when he was ready, like knowing he's going to retire, if I was the NBA and I was Stern, one of my legacies would have been, I would have groomed an African-American to be the first African-American commissioner of one of the, you know what I mean? Like I'm saying, like he had silver there, but I would have had a couple guys.
Well, Mark Tatum is in line. He's the deputy commissioner.
Right, but I'm saying
he's
that,
under silver.
That would have been what I left if I was David Stern. Like a legacy.
It's maybe silver. Silver might be leaving.
Because I thought I really thought that Bud Selig, but they didn't have any. But Bud Selig might do it. Bud Selig was a part of, making sure that Jackie Robinson got his number retired by everybody, and they honor Jackie Robinson and some of the stuff that was left behind.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it didn't happen. But that's just something that I would have done.
But like I said, it could, like I said, Mark Tatum is second in charge at the NBA. He's African-American. And so maybe it'll happen.
Because we never had a black commissioner.
No. So